Hi, readers. Welcome back. We have been doing a lot of work trying to figure out tricky words. We know that we're going to come across hard words as we go, and we're just going to keep climbing those hurdles, never giving up, bringing forward all of our grit. Readers, there's another part to reading that requires us to bring forward all of our grit, and that's when we come across expressions that feel tricky. Today, I want to teach you that when readers come across a confusing expression in their text, their job is to use all that you know about what has been going on to figure out what that expression might mean. Then you keep reading, checking on that guess as you go. Have you ever heard a phrase like, it's raining cats and dogs? A phrase like that, does it really mean that there's cats and dogs raining from the sky? No, it just means that it's raining really hard. Readers, authors throw in those types of expressions all the time in their books, and it's up to us to figure out what they mean to help bring a beautiful picture to our books. I was thinking we could try this with our read aloud text, Indian Shoes. In this particular text, we will find many places where we can envision the text using creative expressions. In this particular part of the text, it's at the start of the chapter, night fishing. Let's look for some expressions that might feel a bit confusing for us. Bring-a-ring-a-ring-a-ling. The alarm jangled in the darkness, but Ray couldn't jangle his bones for it. Sleep knitted his eyelids, and a Cherokee Seven Clans quilt wrapped him cozy and safe. Readers, do you see some phrases just like I do? I'm seeing the phrase, the alarm jangled in the darkness, but Ray couldn't jangle his bones for it. I'm also seeing the phrase, sleep knitted his eyelids. Huh. I'm not really sure what those mean. There's an alarm going off, and it's saying that he couldn't jangle his bones. There's this other one that says, sleep knitted his eyelids. It's interesting because I know what knitting is. I've seen people knit before where they use their knitting needles and they're putting yarn together to make a blanket or a scarf. So it feels like a phrase like sleep knitted his eyelids must mean that sleep is like keeping his eyes closed. So maybe he's really tired. It's also seeming like the alarm jangled and it couldn't jangle his bones. It seems like it couldn't shake him, it couldn't wake him up. I'm going to hold on to both of those expressions and see if, as I continue reading, they make a little more sense. Here we go. A few weeks ago, Ray and Grandpa had driven down to Oklahoma in their new pickup. The old country house where they were staying belonged to Uncle Leonard and Aunt Wilhelmina, and it overlooked a shimmering lake. You come in, Sleepy Bones? Grandpa Halfmoon called from the doorway. Wow, readers, do you see that? Right here, it confirms that those expressions that felt a little confusing just mean that he was sleepy. Ray was really tired and the alarm couldn't wake him up. And then his eyelids were so heavy because he was so sleepy, it felt like somebody was like tying them together. Now it makes sense. The phrases that he couldn't jangle his bones, sleep knit his eyelids. And I figured that out because I kept reading, checking my guess as I went along. Readers, as we read our text, there are many ways that we will have to tackle tricky words and tricky phrases. We already have a list of strategies to do this, and now we have one more to add to the group. We can think about how we can figure out figurative language phrases by reading the story, reading on, checking our guesses. We can add this as a strategy when things feel a little tricky. But a strategy like this requires us to bring forward all of our grit. It requires us to never give up and to keep pushing even when something feels challenging. Readers, I'm getting ready to send you off to your reading work today. But before we go, I want you to set up a work plan for yourself. Of course, find your reading spot, fill out your reading log. You'll also be maybe giving yourself a quick retell before you get started. You'll be thinking about all of the work that the book is signaling for you to do, making that mental image in your mind. As we continue moving forward, remember that as we tackle tricky words, it's not a one-day thing. It's something we do every single day when we come across words that feel hard for us. So readers, off you go. Happy reading.